Faithless or just shameless? What to make of the dance band unveiling their latest video by way of a car advert? Michael Crick there. Now, if you like your music pure, uncommercial, vaguely underground, this one probably isn't for you. The dance band Faithless have teamed up with Fiat to release the video for their latest single as a car advert. They're not the first band to discover the allure of the corporate world. Even Sting came pretty close with his Desert Rose track, a decade ago. But the car company's calling this the world's first prommercial. Well, of course they are. A way of reaching out to new audiences, or has Faithless just turned shameless? Stephen Smith reports.
Just look at them. They must be crackers. A double-decker bus could be right on top of them and they'd never even see it.
Now that's what I call a rock-commercial.
You must be out of your tiny minds.
Fronted by the British singer whose act was shamelessly cribbed by Elvis.
Keep your wits about you and keep looking and listening.
Now what do you think of this? Is it a car commercial? Is it a pop video? Pop video, says the ad agency.
The only reason that the car's ever there is because it fits in the narrative of the music video.
Members of the band, Faithless, appear as novelty toys inside the car. And the manufacturers say the idea of dolls and rear-view mirrors was a fantastic way to show the interior of the car. The band spoke to Newsnight from their deluxe dressing room, backstage at a gig near Prague tonight.
Faithless are completely self-funded. We're not on a major label anymore, and we want to have a long-term relationship with people, you know, our fans and beyond. And this seems a very, very good way of reaching them and getting our music out there. You know, there are two separate problems, if you like, or demands, which is they want to sell cars and we want to sell music. But if you can get that relationship to work, then it can be, you know, an exciting and creative thing.
Ever noticed how your papers hide?
Iggy Pop was always a little crazy, in a good way, but now he's working for the Mad Men, huckstering insurance.
Policy, they got their own little hideouts.
Do I buy Country Life butter because it's British?
And the Johnny, formerly known as Rotten, is all gussied up in +4s to flog dairy products. Yes, these titans of rock are topping up their pension pots, but what about their legacy? Whatever happened to sticking it to the man?
I buy Country Life because I think it tastes the best.
That idea of the man is something, it's a hangover from the 60s, and I think if you sign any form of record contract, you've entered into some commercial relationship. It's the scale of that and your ability to express yourself artistically within the confines of that particular organisational and financial relationship.
Music retailers are disappearing in the UK, so people have to look for other avenues to get their music out there. And we've been lucky enough to be chosen for this collaboration. So I think it'd be absolutely insane in the current climate to turn our noses up.
Check it out! We got you a massive balloon. I know, it's so big. Like, spread your wings. Gnomes don't have wings.
There was a time when pop newcomers Jedward would have been blamelessly chasing girls and throwing TV sets out of hotels. Not now. They're in the confectionery business. What about the fans?
Bye, Bomino! Bye, Bomino! Bye, Bomino!
Consumers don't have a problem with brands. Brands are everywhere. There's venues around the country named after mobile phone brands or alcohol brands, and clothing brands are involved with music. So it's not an issue, and I don't think the consumer necessarily sees that. If they feel that it's helping them get access to music or it's giving them a better experience, then that's a compromise that they're prepared to take.
Newsnight was shown a dossier of abandoned rock tie-ups, including Mariah Carey as the face of household cleaning products, Amy Winehouse plugging bath salts, also squelched George Michael and driving lessons. Once a rock star in a commercial inspired confidence. What about now?
Take it from me, be smart, be safe.
Steve Smith. I'm joined now by the Associate Editor of the NME, Paul Stokes, and the Head of Entertainment at the marketing agency, KLP, Natasha Kizzy. Great to have you both here. And Paul, I mean, do you think this makes Faithless look like Jedward? everyone doing the same thing now in the same way?
I think there was a line in the sand, and if you crossed it, you were selling out and you were going over to the man. I just don't think it exists anymore. The way that music industry has gone, you know, you can't fund videos the size that Faithless have made with this car video. I mean, if you say Michael Jackson, for example, in the 80s, could make Thriller, put it on telly for 14 minutes, you get a guaranteed mainstream audience, and then he'd sell 50 million copies of his record.
You're saying that's dead now?
You can't do that now. And so if a record label was to invest and make a similar length video now, they couldn't guarantee that it would be shown on television and it would have the same impact. It would probably premiere on a website, and then you're only going to sell thousands of records, not millions.
You're NME. Are you happy with that?
It's a shame. I mean, I used to be so anti the idea of music being used in adverts. I thought you crossed the line, and even I've come around over a period of years where you sort of go, it gets out to a wider audience. You know, the trouble now for musicians is getting your music heard and finding a way to make a living doing it. And I think this is one way of.
But Natasha, isn't it a bit like the young actress who starts off doing the nude porn shoot and finds, you know, it's a good idea at the time, and it comes back to haunt you forever, that you're stuck with, you know, the Vodafone advert or the Fiat advert. Nobody ever remembers your music for you.
Well, I think that is a risk if you are working with a developing artist, definitely. You know, I think you have to think carefully about when, you know, the right brand partnerships are right for an artist in their career, you know. But for a large number of artists, you know, as we were just talking about, the issue is really reaching fans, and that's the same issue that a lot of brands have today as well. You know, it's a much more fragmented media landscape. It's harder to actually reach audiences.
And do you think that we've just got sort of much less political about what music has to mean? You know, this whole idea of the sort of the punk stuff, the anti-establishment, the raging against the, you know, the sort of the norm. People don't care about brands anymore, do they?
Well, music is so mainstream now. I mean, what used to be all the alternative, you know, in the 90s, Blur and Oasis were an alternative bands, and they slowly, that kind of music came into the mainstream. And as a result, I think the fan bases have gone mainstream as well. So you don't have, you can have on the fringes, you know, the people who are saying, you know, down with the government, we're going to do different things. But bands in the middle now, it's so hard to get a political opinion out of them.
Into sort of their causes and their rants, and, you know, why would they choose a car of all things instead?
Well, I think, you know, when you're looking at a brand partnership deal, what you're always looking at to start off with is, do you share the same audiences? So are you both trying to reach the same people? That's the first thing. The second thing is then, do you share the same objectives? So, you know, what do you actually want to achieve together?
And do they sell more cars as a result of this?
I'm sure they will do, absolutely. And you know, part of what's different and unique about this prommercial is, you know, that, you know, most advertising agencies approach music very differently. They put music as an afterthought with advertising. It's not really the first thing that you consider, and that's what's really innovative and quite different about this, is that the approach is very unique.
There is a danger, I think, for Faithless here, though, in that, like you say, this could be the Fiat song, and it's going to be this thing where, and if we don't know the ins and outs of it, but did they change the length of, there's no money involved,
exactly.
Did they change the length of the song so that they could get a better shot of the car driving around?
Yeah, I mean, how long before Fiat is dictating what their music is?
I don't think that will ever happen. I really don't, because I think that, you know, the brands want to get in bed with artists because of their artistic integrity. You know, at the end of the day, they're buying into their cool. So, you know, I think that it would be every band would reject that kind of approach anyway from a brand, because that's not where their expertise lies. Their expertise is in marketing.
The lines are already blurring, though, right? I mean, so at some stage, kind of all music promotion and marketing just meshes together, doesn't it?
I think there's a real danger that those lines can get blurred, because we are looking that, you know, there is no source of income outside of record labels. So if people are going to go to bands and they have to brands, then they have to go, well, we're going to do what you say. I mean, the Lady Gaga made a video, the Telephone, and there are 18 product placements in that. Now, it's an amazingly inspired video, and it's really good, and, you know, there's a lot of high production values. But at the end of the day, it becomes so tedious, because you are just ticking off going, yes, you've got a mobile phone handset because they've paid you to have it in there.
Natasha, you did the Bacardi Groove Armada one. Now, are there ones that you... I mean, Steve was joking about them in his report, but ones that have gone really badly wrong, like this sort of, you know, Justin Timberlake McDonald's thing. I mean, do you ever have a, you know, gulp in your...
Well, I would never commit to doing something if it didn't feel right, because I think, you know, to the point that we were making before, I think that the young audiences today accept brands being involved in music, but they're very, very good at working out when it's a stinker. So, you know, actually getting something that feels right, and that really comes from quite a bit of intuition and, you know, gut instinct. But, you know, you can always do some research as well and make sure that you're not going into too risky territory.
Thank you both very much.